Touch it, read it, learn it, teach it, everybody talk about it. Touch it, read it, learn it, teach it, everybody talk about it. Talk about it. Great day, Mr. McCray, coming your way with another installment of Math Mentoring. In our installment today, our focus is to continue our homework recap from week 5. Um, Clearly, this was a short week, so when we look at our study guide, we're going to integrate some of the material that we've covered over the last 4 weeks into the upcoming weekly. So let's jump back into our lesson. Okay, let's consider question 1 from Wednesday. Wegmans Cafe sells self-serve food. The function of C of Y or C of W represents the cost in dollars of a container of food weighing W ounces. An appropriate domain for the function would be. All right, let's get our magic pen out here. I actually like the magic pen. Me and the magic pen are cool. All right, so what is it asking? Well, remember, domain. What is domain? Domain is the input value. So our input value here is its weight in ounces. That's our input value. Okay, so when we look at our input values, can it be integers, rational numbers, non-negative integers, or non-negative rational numbers? Really, this is a vocabulary test. So consider what we know. Okay, input, domain is the weight. The cost would be our output in range. So what would it be an appropriate domain? Considering we're going to use a process of elimination here, we can eliminate choices 1 and 3. Why? Well, choices 1 and 3 are integers. Integers are whole numbers. All right. And we're looking for a cost of a whole number. So our choice must be a non-negative number that can be a decimal. So we could actually have 5.5 ounces. So it does not necessarily need to be a whole number. So because it doesn't necessarily need to be a whole number, that leaves us with choices 4 and choice 2. Choice 4 has to be more correct because choice 2 would create a situation where I could have negative 4 ounces or negative 5 ounces. So this is a little bit of a tricky question, but really, what is it? It's a vocabulary question. That's exactly what it is, vocabulary. All right, let's consider our next question. All right, there we go. Our next question. On a set of axes below, draw a graph of f of x where it's negative x squared minus 4x plus 3 over the domain negative 5x, ranging to positive 1. Find f of 4. What this means is this. Find the value of y when x is negative 4. So that's what that actually means. Consider step 1 and step 2. We know we're going to put this into our y editor, and that's going to allow us to generate a XY table. So now we can analyze our XY table and think about, points that we can plot. Given the fact that this is a nonlinear function, we know that 3 or 5 points are necessary. And also, given the fact that this is a parabola, and the parabola is of the sort where we have a negative x, we know that that negative x value is going to generate a shape that looks a little bit like this. So this point right here, we call our max value. Max value. Okay, so that being said, we're looking for y that is our max value, in which case we see 7. 7 is the largest value we have. So that allows us to graph a function of this order. All right. Our max value is negative 2, 7. We place that there. And then we talked a bit about our cousin values. Negative 5, negative 2 places us here. 1, negative 2 places here. These are what we call similar values, mirror values, or I like to call them cousin values. So finally, we have to answer the question. When x is negative 4, y is 3. All right? All right, let's consider our next question. This comes from Thursday, and it reads as follows. A store makes a $2 profit, and on each sandwich sold, the total profit might be modeled after this function. P of S equals 2 times S, where P of S represents the total profits and S represents the number of sandwiches sold. An appropriate domain for this function would be, again, an integer, a whole number, an irrational number, or a rational number. Friends, this is a vocabulary test. And because it's a vocabulary test, we got to kind of roll with the punches. We know that we're looking for this value of S because it's asking us for domains. So when we think about sandwiches, okay, we want excuse me, whole numbers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, or integers. And this boils right back down to vocabulary. So let's consider the vocabulary here. What is an integer? An integer. It's a whole number, a number that is not a fraction. It can be positive, negative, or 0. We don't want an integer. We don't want a negative sandwich. We don't want a 0 sandwich. Let's consider a whole number. All natural numbers, including 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's kind of what we're looking for. What about irrational numbers? Cannot be expressed as a ratio between two numbers. It cannot be written as a decimal. Okay, so that'd be like the square root or the pi, but we don't really want a square root sandwich, so that wouldn't work. Um, let's talk about what rational numbers are about. Any number that can be expressed as a ratio or fraction of p over q of two integers, the number p is a non-zero denominator. Since q may be equal to 1, every integer is a rational number. That's a mouthful. All right, let's just say for this problem, what we're most interested in is that the number of sandwiches are our input, the profits are output. So an appropriate domain is going to be number 2. How do we come to 2? Well, we're going to eliminate choices 1 and choices 3 because it can't be a negative, and we don't want a pi sandwich or a square root of 2 sandwich. 4 is a rational number, but we could have decimals. We just really want a whole number. We want a non-negative, non-decimal number. That makes the most sense. All right. Let's consider our next question. On a set of axes below, draw the graph f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 1 minus 2. Find the value of y when x is 3. What do we know? Well, first, we always got to go back to our y editor, plug this into our calculator. Absolute value, x plus 1 minus 2. Now we got to analyze the xy table. Again, this is a nonlinear value. We're looking for y values that have a max or min. So here we see our minimum value. The lowest y we have is negative 2. So how would we write this? Well, we would write this as the following. Negative 2, or excuse me, negative 1 comma negative 2 would be our minimum value. Our cousin's value would be negative 3 comma 0, 1 comma 0, and the answer of the question was, when x is 3, what's the value of y? Well, it's not featured on here, but it would be 2. It would be 2. Let's consider our last question. I guess that was our last question. We were just cranking them out here. Okay. So, as we conclude another session, my charge, again, internalize this information, make sure you get understanding the skill. If you got to rewind this video a couple times, that's a good thing. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, the message is 30 minutes of study a day keeps bad grades away. All right, I need to see everybody increasing from week to week on these weekly quizzes. I'm seeing some good things, but I need to see them across the board. Okay, students, do well.